5-Minute Church is Pastor John. Hopefully you're having a great week. Have you ever gotten in the car, or like the car was turned off but the radio was turned on, and all of a sudden you jump in there and it just like blares loud and it scares you half to death? Or if sometimes I'll have the iPhone hooked up to the car stereo and I have to turn up the volume for someone I'm listening to, and then when the call ends, the music just comes back and blares as loud as you can. And during this holiday time, I think life is a lot like that. That Christmas is kind of like it turns up the dial on everything that you're going through. Whatever tune your life is playing, it's always amplified. It's always louder. We talked about that at Midweek Minutes. And Christmas amplifies whatever's in your life. So whether you're feeling loss, Christmas amplifies that. Whether you're having relationship issues, Christmas amplifies that. Maybe you're having good times, it also intensifies that. Or maybe there's loneliness that you're struggling with and it even feels even more lonely. Or maybe there's addictions, and that usually increases during the time of the holidays. But hopelessness can increase. So whatever you're going through, it's kind of like getting in that car and it just blares loud. And so I want to talk about the depression, the loneliness, the suicide, all these things that are very difficult things to talk about, but are real, and people are experiencing these things, and maybe you're struggling with them today. And I want to give you some hope during this holiday time. In Hebrews chapter 10, verses 23 through 25, it says, "Let us hold unswervingly," or in other words, tightly, "to the hope we profess, for he who promised is faithful, and let us consider how we may spur or motivate one another towards love and good deeds, not giving up meeting together as some are in the habit of doing, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching." I love what it says, that we're supposed to hold unswervingly or hold tightly to this hope that we have in Jesus Christ. And for a lot of people, though, that hope is not tangible. That hope seems like it's escaping out of their fingers. It's kind of like what happened to me when I was a little kid. We didn't have a lot of money, and so whenever I got one of those helium balloons, I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. And one time I was being babysat by my mom's best friend, Marie, and we went to the store, and sure enough, they had these helium balloons. And I got one, and I was holding it, and it's just like I was so intrigued. I know those small things intrigue me, but I'm looking at this thing just float, not understanding the whole concept of helium. And all of a sudden, we walk out of the store, and this wind was just picked up, and it grabbed that balloon, it took it right out of my hand, and I watched this thing in horror just slip through my fingers, and I couldn't get it fast enough, and it floated away until you couldn't see it anymore. And I started crying. I started just I was distraught. I lost that balloon. And yet, what was really cool is that Marie went back into the store, got another one, but this time she took the string and tied it around my hand. She tethered it to my hand so I wouldn't let go of that hope. And that's just like life, this balloon of hope that so many people have lost, and it's so far out of reach. A lot of times people don't even know how to get their life back on track. And there are a lot of reasons why people are losing hope. A lot of times it's circumstances of life, or maybe loneliness is a huge issue. There's a long list, and maybe in your small group you can discuss those things of why people are losing hope. But one thing that I want to talk about is a lot of times people lose hope when there's no purpose and there's no direction. I love what someone said, that aimlessness can lead to lifelessness. Did you catch that? Aimlessness can lead to lifelessness. That our life can be tied up in so many things, but if we don't have a purpose and a direction, so what are we getting up for? If we get up for just ourselves, we start losing hope and purpose, because when it's all about self and selfishness, it gets old. You lose that hope because it's not about you. You can't produce that hope within you. Hope comes from Jesus Christ, and so for us to live for Him, and when we live for Him, we also live to serve and help other people. And so that's what I love, where He says, let us consider, okay? He said, let us think about other people. Let us consider others. There's thinking involved. It's asking like how and who and what. And I believe that so many Christians, and especially in the church, we've stopped thinking. We're stopped thinking about considering how to reach people who have lost hope. I think we live in an incredible time. where people are losing hope, but it's our job to think about ways that we can actually spur them on, and new ways. We can't just expect them to come to us and sit in our pews. We have to go to them and bring the hope to them, and look at them and consider that hope. I love this clip from The Office with Michael Scott. And so often we think only of ourselves, and a fire happened in the office. There was a fire drill, and of course Michael was only thinking of himself. I'll show this clip right now.
This is a paper company, people. Step lively. This whole place is a tinderbox. It is ready to blow. This is not a test. Can you leave?
Oh, you say that every time.
Do you want to die?
Oh.
Do you want to die? Out! Stanley, have you...
Yes, I was the first one out, and yes, I've heard women and children first, but we do not employ children. We are not a sweatshop, thankfully, and women are equal in the workplace by law. So I let them out first. I have a lawsuit on my hands.
So a lot of people ask me, they say, well, how do I find my purpose? How do I figure out what's going on? And one thing that it's easy to find when you start looking at other people, you find a greater purpose. In Philippians chapter 2, verses 3 and 4 says, do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourself, not looking to your own interests, but each of you to the interests of others. I recently was at Sam's Club, and it was just total chaos in there. Of course, during the holidays, it's just completely, lines were just insane, and everybody's so focused on getting their stuff through the line. And I was the same way. I was like, I just want to get in, I want to get out, I don't want to be here anymore. And I just had to pick up a few items, and one particular item, I was picking up some gift cards, and you had to have them brought to you from the customer service desk. And so we're waiting there. I'm waiting with this gal, and we started talking, and I found out that she had a partner. She was a lesbian, and then she asked me what I was doing. And I told her to start to talk to her about 5-Minute Church. And as I'm sitting there, I'm going, what are ways and that I can encourage her? And what are ways that I can connect? And I gave her one of our 5-Minute Church coins. And you know what? It was amazing, because she's like, you know, I'm looking, I'm searching, I'm lost out here, I'm trying. And she just opened up right there while we're waiting for these cards in the middle of all the chaos. And it just took that little moment of trying to consider her life and pray for her. And she's like, I'm going to download the app and connect in with 5-Minute Church. What an amazing thing. And it was like, we got to be creative in how we're reaching people that are hurting, that are lost, that don't know their way through this journey that we're on. And so I just encourage you to find the hope and hold on to it, to tether the hope that we have in Jesus Christ to your hand. Keep finding ways to consider other people. And who in your life do you need to consider? Maybe you're the one that's losing hope. God bless you guys. We're here for you. We want to pray for you. We want to bless you. Go in peace. Have an awesome week. God bless you.